everyone. So here we are. We're going to start off episode number 1 of our video series talking about the topic of the street-driven green Chevelle that is actually the inspiration to the race car that many of you have seen in years past. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about the origin story of the car, what happened to it in recent years, and what we're going to be doing to it in the future. In further episodes, we'll be going through some of the work that I'm going to be doing on the car. We're also going to have commentary from my dad on the car as well. He'll be helping me work on the car. But this is the car. So this is the car. This car's been in our family for probably about 30 or so years. My dad bought this car around 1991-ish. And it was back when my dad had an automotive repair shop. And when he bought the vehicle, it did not have a motor, transmission, or even wheels and tires. So for the longest time, probably about 10 to 15 years, this car sat in my dad's shop, not really doing much of anything. But when he bought the car, it was a low mileage Survivor, only having 18,000 miles on the odometer. And it still has the all original GM interior in it. And all of the sheet metal, except for the channel that is between the trunk lid and the back glass, is the only thing that has been replaced, but everything else is still factory original as the car came out of the Atlanta, Georgia assembly line in 1968. So when we first got the car running, it just had a 350 small block in it, and that was basically just to get the car driving. So around the time of 2004, my dad did a pretty comprehensive restoration on the car, did a repaint on it, brand new vinyl top, cleaned up all the chrome on the car, and we kind of played back and forth on what we were going to do for a driveline on the car. So my dad ended up deciding to put a 502 big block in it with the EFI tune port from GM, that's the crate motor. And originally we put a 700 R4 automatic transmission in it. Well, that transmission didn't live very long. It had some issues, and we ended up replacing it. So when we decided to replace it, we replaced it with a T10 transmission and put a 4-speed in it. So now it's a bench seat 4-speed car with the tune port big block. Go and open the interior here. You can take a look at it. I got a sheet on this thing because I've been doing some work on the car just to kind of work on it, doing some under dash stuff, but this kind of gives you an idea what the interior looks like. So it's got the original steering wheel here, very little cracks in it, but all original interior from 1968. It even still smells new in this car. As you can see, it's all there, never been touched. It's just been cleaned up a little bit here and there. So that's pretty much what it looks like in here. Very low mileage car. It doesn't even have a radio in it. So whoever bought this car originally in 68 was really just looking for kind of like general transportation in this car. But it's all there, all really solid. Has that A-body sound to it. So there's not much going on here in the engine bay, but what we are deciding to do this time around, the car needs another going through for mostly cosmetic stuff, but it also had some electrical things that needed to be addressed, brakes being one of them. We've decided to go ahead and put power steering in the car. We tried living with the manual steering, but having a big block and trying to navigate this thing around in parking, being as big of a battleship as this thing is just too difficult. So we just said, you know what, we're just going to put power steering in it. And we had power brakes on it, so that was already taken care of there. But yeah, it's a really awesome car. So what we're gonna do is, as we're working on this car, we're gonna kind of document what we're doing to it. So I'm gonna be working on it. My dad will be working on it with me. We're gonna kind of go through everything that we're doing with this car, and you guys can follow along with us as we get this thing back to rolling again. We do plan on taking this car to car shows with it, so if you see us out there with it, you'll definitely be able to get to see the car more in depth. And we usually always take this car with us along with the race car when we go to car shows. So here's the 502. I've got this thing pretty much taken apart. I'm gonna take the heads off of this thing and kind of go through it. The fuel injection system that was on this car was really more of a simplistic EFI system that was on it, and it ran super rich, and it was constantly drowning out the oil and the fuel, and it was just ruining everything in there. So I'm going through it, gonna clean it up. I'm gonna change over the EFI system that was on this car over to complete electronic fuel injection and have it managed through a fuel tech computer. So I'm gonna be putting that in the car as well. That'll be coming probably closer to the end because I'm trying to get most of the other things done to it. But that will definitely cure all the problems that we've ever had with the motor, because it will be 10 times more controllable, and generally it'll just run better, smoother, won't be as rich, won't foul out spark plugs or the oil or anything like that. So what we plan on doing is we're gonna try to keep putting out an episode probably about a week, maybe every other week at the least. But we're gonna try to document this as much as possible, because a lot of people have asked us before what the story is on the car, what does it serve for us? You know, is it a street car? Is it a track car or whatever? But it's really nothing more than just a fun muscle car to have driving around. So in the next episode, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be working on the back brakes and the front brakes. And then from there, we're gonna be working on the heater box and a bunch of other things. But I did wanna go ahead and give you guys a preview of other things that are to come in the future, because this is not the only street car-ish that we own. We actually have 2 other ones. So there's gonna be 2 other build series as well for that. So I'll go ahead and kind of give you guys a sneak preview of that as well. All right, so I know this is a little hard to see because the car is up on a lift, but some of you have seen this car before. I have taken it out a couple times, but this is my 67 Chevelle. So there is quite a story to this car too. I bought it off of a friend of my dad's. This car, I have not totally decided what I'm gonna do with it yet. It's really fun street car, but I'm gonna kind of try to use the car more as like a stepping stone to try and go a little quicker. I don't really know how fast I'm gonna go because I haven't really figured out what kind of driveline I want to put in it yet, because I'm still trying to keep the car as streetable as possible. So I gotta kind of balance that out as well with trying to do the performance. But this car originally was just a 283 Power Glide car, and long story short, the guy that owned it, he kind of turned it into a street strip car, and then when I got it, I just kind of took it a little bit further than that. But let me take you over to the other car over here. So this car here is another 68 Chevelle. I'll try and lift you guys up there and you can see that. So this car was all original as well. You can even see it has the original motor in it, but this is a 307 Malibu car with a 2-speed power glide in it. And when we got this car, we bought this car back in probably like 2006 or 2007, sometime around there. And originally we were gonna put a big block and a 4-speed in this car and have a lot of fun with it. But when we got the car back home, we seen all the documentation that the car had. And being that it was all numbers matching and had the original Protecto plate in the car, in the service booklet, we said, you know what, this car is just better off to be a restoration car. So that's pretty much what we've decided to do with it. And we're just gonna restore this car. But as you can see, it's got perfect floor pans in it. This car had a little bit of rust, but it wasn't that bad. So we're gonna restore this one, and it'll be kind of like a fun driver quality restoration. And basically it'll be just another fun car to drive. And let me see if I can try to get you guys back here. So the frame and the underside of the car is already painted. That's pretty much done. Mostly what it needs now is it just needs some paint and body work finished on it. And then the interior's got to go back into it, but it will be a good car. I'm trying to do my best to make the car as factory perfect as possible. I even went so far as to get the wax crayons so I could put the wax crayon markings on the firewall, like as it came from the factory. Here you can see more of the 67 from over here. And you can see I've been having some fun with doing burnouts on as evidenced by the freckles on the quarter panel there. But so pretty much that's a brief rundown of what we're going to be doing, and hope that you guys will like, subscribe, share, follow along. You got any friends that are into this or they're into Chevelles like we are, definitely let them know about this video series, and we will definitely be having more updates in the future concerning the race car. There is some other stuff that's coming up for that pretty soon. So we'll definitely be delivering that to you guys, but I will see you in the next episode.